Good morning, Docstar TV and Mushroom fans. I'm Oliver coming to you live from Bangkok, Thailand, late at night, where every week we're going to explore something that's exciting and powerful inside of Thundershrooms that awaits you to help you unlock your maximum healing potential. Today's episode is we're going to talk about, it's called Lifespan or Healthspan. So we're going to jump into that in a few moments. And before we do that, we'll do a quick recap of everything we talked about last week. So last week, I had a beautiful prop, a beautiful wild thunder shrooms that you can see in the picture behind me. And we looked at it up close and personal. And we learned about the three things, the three properties that make thunder shrooms so unique and what we call nature's greatest gift to help our immunomodulation. And that's simply nature's greatest gift to help our immune system change for the better. So those three things that we saw on the live model and also in the picture behind me, those three things were, one, we only use the fruiting body of the mushroom. Now, the fruiting body is the visible part of the mushroom that grows out of the tree that you can see in the picture behind me. And this is just like the fruit of a lemon tree or any other fruit tree. The fruit contains all the genetic code and all the important compounds for that species to generate new life. So in a mushroom, in a fungus, such as the Phalinus mushroom, aka thundershrooms, the fruiting body carries all the information for that species to regenerate, to reproduce. So it's the most important part of the mushroom, and it's also the most medically potent part of the mushroom. Now, we're not by any means first to observe this, but we have done a lot of research, and there's over 1,000 published research papers that are looking at exactly the components of the fruiting body of a wild thundershrooms, and exactly what are those components inside the fruiting body that make it so powerful. So the second part of why thundershrooms is so unique and powerful is that they are all wild. Thundershrooms grow in nature where they survive against the threats and the various challenges that nature gives it to it. So it's developed survival mechanisms, it's developed anti-aging mechanisms which help it to live for a long life, and then also it lives in a very harmonious way with its host. So it's an effective partner for the tree that the mushroom grows on. So when we talk about thundershrooms, we're not talking about lab-grown experiments that can grow very fast. We're talking about things that grow wild in nature, and we're talking about the most powerful part, the fruiting body. And lastly, the third part that makes thundershrooms so special and unique is that they are all old. And you can see the size of the mushroom I had for you last week. These are all mushrooms at least 20 or 30 years old, which go into which go into all versions of thundershrooms, because we know that at this age, this species of mushroom is considered medically mature, where it has the optimal amount of naturally occurring compounds to offer for human health benefit. So to harvest the mushroom before that point in time, of course, will have some benefit, but it's considered immature. It's like an unripened harvest that's really yielded before its time. So those three things, the fruiting body, wild grown in nature, and above 20 or 30 years old, that's what makes thundershrooms very powerful and what we consider to be nature's greatest immunomodulatory gift. So now that we've done a quick recap, let's jump into today's topic, which is called Lifespan or Healthspan. I study anti-aging, and in this field, we are very interested in this group of people, these populations around the world called the blue zone populations. Now, these are populations which have a very high percentage of their community members that live to age 90 or even in many cases over 100. And these blue zone populations, we find them in Okinawa in Japan, we find them in Sardinia in Italy, and I believe in Greece. And they are really interesting sources of study, because what we see from them is is a measurable lifespan and increased average lifespan, whereby we're talking 90 to 100 as average instead of 60 to 80. And but more importantly, when we look at them on further study and we investigate how they live, we see that many of them in that age of 90 to 100, not only are they 90 to 100, they're living almost the same as they were 40 years prior, meaning that their quality of life, their health, or what we call their health span, is right up matched with their long lifespan. So as far as anti-aging studies go, we're not only interested in what allows these populations to live so long, but to live so long with such abundant and seemingly very optimal functioning health. And it's not a case of one or the other. We don't have to choose. And I hear this argument a lot, which is hubris, which some people say, oh, I'd rather live to 55, 60 years old, drinking and smoking and enjoying living my good life rather than live to 90 in a wheelchair. And you don't have, it's not one or the other. And that's where we have to look inside and accept that it's not one or the other. We can actually have long lifespan and good quality of life. We don't have to kill ourselves prematurely. We can enjoy the full length of our life with almost full health and quality of life. So quality of life in that sense, is it arguably more important than quantity of life? But again, we don't have to choose. We can do both. We can look for both. We can modulate our life to do longevity inducing practices. Almost everything you will see in Daryl's Perfect Day Guide is designed to help your body to achieve a better quality of health inside. And that helps you not only to achieve the longer lifespan, but the health span along with it. Because we really don't need to prolong a suffered life, a life of pain. We want to extend our enjoyment of life. And this is something where I've been very blessed to work with two amazing men, Dr. Daryl and Dr. Frank from Thailand with the mushrooms. And it's funny how both figures are such larger than life characters and such ground pioneers in their own way. And one thing is common is that life is considered too short to not enjoy it. And these are not people, I mean, if you ever see Daryl dance, Dr. Wolf, sorry, if you ever see him at a party, or even not at a party, just when the mood strikes him, he will dance, he will cut up a rug, order another, cut that rug up, and he is a machine, he's a monster. He calls even me out, says, what are you doing standing there like a statue? Get over here. And he will dance with pure joy. And if you were just lucky enough to hear Dr. Frank sing, he has the most angelic voice. It touches your soul and you remember it forever. And if you're ever lucky enough to share a karaoke or a meal with him, you know, these are men who enjoy life. And we know that we don't have to sacrifice everything in order to achieve a nice balance where we can get that longevity, that lifespan, along with health span to allow us to enjoy it. On a personal level, when I started taking the mushroom in equivalent of Vital Life about 7 years ago, and after 3-4 weeks of taking it, I went for dinner with Dr. Frank, and he said to me, you know, it's prawns, seasonal dish, have the prawns. And I said, I can't, I've got a shellfish allergy. And he said, just try one, because you've been having the thunder shrooms for a few weeks now. And so I did, and I didn't have any itching. I had no allergic reaction to the shellfish at all. And it seemed like just in a few weeks that my shellfish allergy had gone, and maybe it wasn't so severe to begin with, or whatever had changed in my body, but that wasn't it. Something else changed in my metabolism, whereby all the effort I took to work out and eat right, it actually started to pay off. Whereas for most of my life, it was like I was always fighting that slippery slope of 1 step forward, 2 steps back. And finally, it was like 2 steps forward, maybe 1 or 0 steps back. And there was something that changed inside for the past 6-7 years since I'd introduced the thunder shrooms, where my own personal sickness level and my own personal recovery levels were all achieving, I would say, better state of health than in my 20s before I learned about this mushroom. In my own family, I see it. Both of my parents are at ages where many people, unfortunately, are burdened by incapacitation and immobility, and they're living some of their best quality of life For the story of my mother, we'll have our own episode on that special day, because that's really how we found the mushroom. But in her case, if you saw her years ago in the state of immune crisis she was in, you wouldn't believe that she's out in Mexico and Puerto Rico learning and training with Daryl and passing on her knowledge to other practitioners. And my father, at an age when many are considered, incapacitated or immobilized, he's up and down walking, hiking the hills every morning and enjoying really a great quality of life. So we don't need to trade off one for the other. We don't need to take some silly argument and say, you know what, I don't need quality of life. I'm going to enjoy some outrageous idea of what enjoyment is and poison myself at a young age. That's all creation. We can enjoy everything as much as our body has provided for us. So you really, I invite you to ask yourself, what have you done? What can you do to increase your quality of life? Because with increased quality of life, that's reflective of our own internal health. Our skin is, it's connected to the rest of our organs and it's outwardly facing. But other than it's outwardly facing, it's an organ. It's the largest organ in our body. It's like the crust of a bread. It's connected to the bread. It's just outwardly facing. So it reflects the health of everything on the inside. And we can, when we improve our quality of life, is also goes hand in hand with increasing the actual state of health. So I really invite you to do something about your own quality of life, your own state of internal health. We all accept that life is passing, time never comes back, and that's why another thing that we see in common between Dr. Daryl and Dr. Frank is that life is too short for things that are not the best, because our body can only really handle so much, and not only our physical body, but our spiritual body and our psychological body, we can really only take in so much. So why take in anything less than the very best? And similarly for yourself, we're provided with a body, with a person, with a being, with a soul that can achieve the very best if you let it, and if you encourage it and you feed it and you do the things that will help it to achieve that. So in your path to Healthspan, Thundershoom's Vital Life will be a very solid tool, because it helps really with two mechanisms we know so closely related with anti-aging. One is the antioxidant function, very, very strong natural antioxidant occurring inside the mushroom, which is the same reason why the mushroom can live so long in the harsh sun of nature. It's because its antioxidant, natural antioxidant, is combating the very high UV damage and other environmental damage to allow it to live for as long as 1,000 years. We have some samples in the Mushroom Museum in Thailand that are over 1,000 years old. So this mechanism of antioxidant, which is found very high inside the mushroom, provides the mushroom its anti-aging benefit, and similarly for us when we consume it in Thundershrooms. So in addition to the antioxidant function, we also have the other key thing is the immune balancing, which we talked about 2 episodes ago in the Golden Balance. And that immune balancing brings down the overactive T1 immune system and cools the fire of inflammation that is linked with so many lifestyle diseases. So through immune balancing and strong antioxidant activity, we really have this universal anti-aging benefit for anyone who takes the mushroom for whatever reason they came to take it for to begin with. And it's simply because look how old the mushroom is. A very simple way to understand is, look how old the mushroom is in nature. It obviously has something inside its genetics that allows it to live and thrive for a very, very, very long time. So similarly, those benefits provide an anti-aging appearance to us, which, although it looks skin deep or shallow, is actually reflective of an inner state of health, which allows us to achieve better quality of life for our life. So I invite you all to, actually, I think there's a sale on Cyber Monday, Cyber Week sale is still going on the Dr. Detox store. So it would be a really good time to stock up. For most people who have critical conditions, they would, or more, not say critical conditions, but more symptomatic conditions or more prolonged issues, they could start with the critical care. And for people who are still ahead of the curve and no visible signs of wear and tear just yet, then it's really a good time to start preventing that from happening. And the VitalLife will be most likely good for you to support your other efforts that you make with the Perfect Day lifestyle and approach. So I invite you all to ask yourself, what can you be doing to improve your quality of life and ensure that you have as good of a health span for your entire lifespan? And we will finish today with a few questions, which I haven't addressed since 2 episodes ago. I do apologize. I ran through them last few episodes a bit quickly without stopping to read my notes. So I'm just going to look away from the screen and look at my questions, which are, okay, I need to start thundershooming. Yes, we all do. And the great thing is that because our body is always in a state of dynamic balance and returning to homeostasis, it's never too late. And any time you start is always a good time, because tomorrow can be better than today. So when you're ready to start thundershooming, I hope you know the screen should be on this, the info should be on the screen where you can get it on the online store, and also an email where you can contact with any questions. Recommend for breast cancer. Okay, I won't touch on this specific case, but in all of human health, we actually have a very potent immune defense against not just cancer, but all life-threatening illnesses. So there's something inside the thundershrooms, there's some natural active ingredients which stimulate and awaken our own body's not only cancer defense, but overall immune function. And in each specific case, I really can't say with a general statement, but we do know that the parts of our immune system, such as the natural killer or the NK cell and the T helper cell, which helps to identify the cancer cell before the NK cell goes to destroy it, those immune cells are all boosted and shown in the research on the extracts of thundershrooms to have notable improvement, in some cases several hundred times. Cell activity is improved. So I can't, again, speak to anyone's individual case, and that's definitely something to seek further advice with either the consultation team or your own practitioner. But for our body's inborn immune defenses, the thundershrooms does support an awakening and improvement of the function of all of those immune functions. So the next question was for, and similarly with rheumatoid arthritis. So the question came in about rheumatoid arthritis. We have someone who's having flare-ups. Now, in this case, rheumatoid arthritis is definitely, it's in that category of T1 dominant autoimmune diseases. And what this is a very long way of saying it's the inflammatory group of autoimmune diseases, which is causing the body to attack itself. And there's something that goes wrong with the recognition of your own tissue versus foreign tissue, and your body starts attacking your own tissue as a means of misguided action, shall we say. So by lowering the inflammation, the chronic inflammation, this is a very key part in reducing the likelihood of outbreaks of rheumatoid arthritis, which is almost like when the symptoms show up, it's like a spilling over of the cup of tolerance for autoimmune condition is full, spilling over, and now we see the symptoms. So in acute presentations of the symptoms, then we have had some experience where clients have taken higher doses of critical care for that day when they were experiencing the symptoms, anywhere between 4 to 8 or more capsules for the time they were showing the symptoms, and then reducing to between 2 to 8 ongoing for the period just before and after. And one very key important thing to remember with rheumatoid arthritis, and really with a lot of autoimmune diseases, is that something you may or may not know about in your life that you're doing regularly is causing your body to react in a way that's making your immune function difficult, and in this case, causing to attack itself. So beyond just fixing the balance by introducing thundershrooms, which will address the imbalance between the immune system that's attacking you, it shouldn't be, and the immune system part that should be more active, beyond just thunder shrooms, which will help to readdress this balance, I really invite you to think a bit hard about what else you're taking that could be causing such a prolonged chronic expression of discomfort in imbalance inside the body. And lastly, we had two really welcome emails. Really nice to hear this feedback, which was someone told me that it helped them with their hangover, which I experienced myself personally many times. On a night out, I will take like 4 critical care, and because I don't do well with alcohol, I don't process it well. I think I'm allergic to it, so I get headaches, and these are all signs of inflammation. So for me, critical care is a great pre-night hangover. I take it the day before I drink and the day of drinking, and some the day after. So I'm glad to hear someone else has experienced and discovered that same sort of lifestyle use for it. And the other one was I received feedback from someone who said that they were planning to take a 14-day course of between 5 to 10 capsules of the critical care to lower their symptoms of flu and fever and seasonal stuff. And after just 2 days, and it was only 5 capsules a day, where normally we go for at least 10 to 25 or more. On just 5 capsules after 2 days, reported a vast reduction and almost disappearance of the symptoms. So that was a very nice feedback to get. And I really invite, if any of you have feedback or questions, please contact me at the email you see on screen, which is thundershrooms with a Z at docofdetox@gmail.com. I'll personally reply to your questions. And if you have any feedback, I would love to share it on the show. And I look forward to seeing you all again at the same time next week, where we will again explore something that's exciting and powerful that awaits you inside Thundershrooms to unlock your maximum healing potential. So I look forward to seeing you again very soon. Bye for now.